Hey guys! So lately I've been feeling kind of bad about my own style, so I decided to do the art challenge that's going around on YouTube because it looks like fun and I just always wanted to try this out. So this video is sort of inspired by Absoline's video of all of her inspirations. Except I'm not going to be using my inspirations because I'm a little bit too shy to talk about my inspirations. So this video is basically all the artists that I think that are really neat, and I don't really see them around on YouTube a lot. Actually, maybe one of them. Oh well. So basically this is like my 12 art challenge, I think they're neat edition, Q March with a potato. So yeah, this basically sets the mood for the entire video. Just by going through who I follow on Twitter, I tried picking out the most diverse styles that I've seen on my feed and would say to myself, oh, I'm happy to see this person's style because it's nice. But I'll be going over in detail why I like these different styles and why they stick out to me. So I'm gonna be drawing my character Margot, and she's kind of like this eccentric writer. She's also very headstrong. She mostly relies on her emotions rather than, I guess, reason. But the reason why I picked her is because, like, even though to me she's like the hardest character for me to draw, she's also has like this very fun style. So I thought it would be fun to use her as for practice. So the first artist I'm going to be talking about is, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but I think it's Wren? But they go by Sleep Realms on Twitter. And I really like her style because, not by her character designs, I really like the way that she draws backgrounds, because they're all very like simplified, and she has a way where she uses like different gradients to manipulate light. And the shadows aren't very hard, which is like a really nice contrast to her line work, because her line work is actually sort of round but also very sharp. It's kind of like a very crisp style. So like having very hard lines and like very soft shading and lighting just really gives like this nice eerie feel, I think, because most of her work is very, very eerie, and it's really nice to look at. I mean, just by like looking at her work, I probably would love to like walk around in a city designed by her, I think. But I based Margot's design off of one of her profile pictures, because I couldn't really find a lot of human characters that she's drawn, except for herself. So, but yeah, she's a really cool person to follow. I almost forgot to mention that I really like the way that she uses colors too. Even though, like, I noticed a lot of her work has like monochromatic grays in them, there are like a couple of pieces of where she uses like blues and greens and maybe some red, and that's like my favorite color scheme. Trickywagon is one of the artists that I do follow on YouTube, because she does vlogs every month. But the first thing that I noticed about her style is that she likes to block things out. She has a really good way of drawing anatomy and blocking out colors. And I don't know, what it is, but like the way that she draws like shapes is very, very interesting to me. I really like the way that she does color too, because a lot of the colors that she uses is like soft pinks and blues and yellows, and she just has a really good sense of anatomy and color. And I would like to say that she's kind of inspirational for me, because like watching some of her videos like kind of motivates me to do my own projects. But I wouldn't really say that she's like my top motivation, like inspirational artist. But I mean, like, I really appreciate how much like ambition she has, and she studies anatomy a ton, and it's really nice, like, because it's always really important to like study the basics. Sometimes when you're drawing for like so many years, you kind of like forget how do I even draw hands, or like how do I even draw that body part, or like how do I draw this building. So I mean, I think she has like a very good grasp of like knowing when to go back and like start from the beginning and relearn everything. And that's what I think every artist should do that once in a while, just to like relearn things. I noticed while working on this that for shading, she uses a lot of like pinks and purples with some of her work. And also she's really good at gestures, and the way that she draws clothes is just, it's so nice, because she also has a very good feel of doing silhouettes with some of her work, because even if you just like lock out some of her artwork, you could still like see like this really nice outline of her characters, which is really important for character design, because a lot of people like use silhouettes to create different shapes with their characters, and so that's how like people can point out what a good character design is, just by like looking at the shape within shadow. But she doesn't just use like digital work, she also does like inking and watercolor, which is it's really cool that she does traditional work too, because I know like a lot of artists don't do watercolor and inks all that much, or at least, I mean, not a ton of artists do that. This next artist is calls themselves Neatodon, which fits perfectly with this this list, because yeah, it's in the name. But what I really like about their style is, like, if I had one word to describe their style, it would probably be comforting, I think. Like, it's like coming home from a bad day and then you have like comfort food, I guess. But like, they use a lot of nice warm colors, and I really like the way how they elongate their faces. And he also has a nice way of like showing expressions with his characters. A lot of the expressions are very goofy in a very good way. And I also like the way he does his line work, because the line work varies a lot, and it's not like one width. Like, sometimes it's like larger in some places and sometimes not. But yeah, he has just like a really nice warm style. I like it. I think my favorite part about drawing in his style is like getting to draw Margot with a longer face, and I've always drawn her with like an apple shaped face, so like just drawing her with more of a elongated face was really fun. Also, I like the way that he doesn't He doesn't connect his lines. He just kind of like lets it all go. Like it's very loose. I also appreciate that he actually uses like different body sizes too with his characters. It's not like all the same like skinny body size too. Like all of his characters look like they have meat on their bones and it looks good. I also noticed that he uses like a lot of oval shapes in his drawings, and that's really nice. This next artist is called Peabug, and I actually found them through working on the Taz animated project, reanimated project, and I really liked their work because I really like how they used their shapes within their characters, because they use a lot of like triangle and diamond shapes within their character designs. And I also really like the fact that they use a lot of like, I guess, cat faces in their drawings, because that's really kind of cute. But as I was like working on in their style, I really had to think about layers, because I noticed that when they drew their characters, they also blocked out parts where part of their hair was like pushed back, or like part of their bodies were pushed back, and that would all be like blacked out. So it was a little bit difficult for me to like try to think in a way of like everything is on a layer. But they have like this really good way of doing shapes, and when it comes to like colors for them, they actually like keep to a very limited color scheme. Everything seems to be like either monochromatic or in the same local colors, and I think that's really nice. They're also like a really good animator too. Like I'm actually sort of excited to see their thesis film, because I bet it's gonna look amazing. But their style is super cute. I really enjoy it. Like I really enjoy the way that they draw their eyes, and just like it's just like a really fun, cute style. They also really love orange. Just want to point that out, because yeah, they really love orange. Okay, with this next artist, I actually had to really think around their style, because most of their style is actually all in watercolor and ink. And they go by the name of Goyagoat, I think. And I found them through a Draw This in Your Style meme, and I ended up following them because I really liked the way that they drew beasts and stuff. Well, like while I was like working on this, I really liked working on the eyes most of the time, because their eyes are just these like big reptile like eyes. I don't know, but it's like a really cool style, and I could just basically kind of like drown myself in it. Like it's very unique, and it's something that like a style that you would like see in, I think, like a storybook or something. I noticed with their style, it's very rough, and also it looks sharp, but a lot of their lines are kind of roundish. And let's see, again, they use watercolor, so unless they're using like a digital brush that mimics watercolor, then I'm not sure. They also have very soft lines. Their outside lines are more harsh than the lines inside of the characters. They're more softer. I just also like the fact most of their work just kind of like looks like serpents from like a medieval time. I can imagine like their style being like on one of those like medieval flags. But they also have a very nice kind of sketchy style too. And I was actually really tempted to buy one of their zines at one point. But yeah, I don't know. I really like the way they draw beasts and stuff. They got some good beastie beasts. I also noticed that they really like to draw in green and orange and maybe a little bit of blue. But yeah, they have a very limited color scheme also. It's not saturated most of the time. It's very, I guess, toned down, which is sort of nice because it's easier on the eyes. And besides the fact that they use like a lot of scales and a lot of reptile eyes, they have like a very nice, cute style, I think. It's very homey. I also forgot to mention at the beginning of this video that some of the artists that I'm going to be talking about, some of their art does have like nudity in it. So like if you're a baby bean who doesn't really want to see all that stuff, yeah, please be careful. Proceed with caution. When I say that, this artist does like in fact draw nudity a little bit, but it's not like weird. But yeah, just proceed with caution. Okay, so for this next artist, I actually am very close for putting him on my list of like inspirations, but I've only like come across his work like very recently. But his name is Joe Sparrow, also known as Torpor Dust. But he's like a master of like character design, and I really love the way he like shapes everything because it's so simple. And actually while doing all these like different styles, it was just very like forgiving to like draw in his style because it's like all like super round, and but he has a way of like making things like simplified but also enough to where you can actually like see the details in the characters. And I'm actually very tempted to go out and just buy his Tarot card set and his comic. Let's see. Yeah, I'm really tempted to buy his animated comic, The Hunter, because like the previews of it just look really beautiful. Like, he's also an animator, and when I like look at his work, I just kind of like see like Ghibli, but more shapy and like blocked out and stuff. But he's also like worked for like different corporations too, which is really impressive. And so I'd love to like get on his level of like character design and mastering shapes. He also has a limited color palette, and he actually does use saturated colors in his work, but he balances it out with more toned down colors, which makes it really nice. Like, it's very vibrant, but not too vibrant. Like, it's not explosive vibrant. It's more just vibrant enough that it's easy to look at. Drekkydrimm has a very good handle on flow and movement within their work. One of the things that really stick out to me is the way that they draw eyes, because their eyes kind of are like egg-shaped, and I don't really see that a lot in other art styles. It was really fun trying to like color in their style too, because they use a lot of like pinks and purples, and they do use like toned down colors, but they also counter that with like slight saturated colors. I think the colored line work really adds to their style because it makes it very soft, and also it leaves in more light within their work. But yeah, I think their style is like really fun and really cool, and I could definitely see it like in an animated series. Shannon Murphy is an artist that I've been following since I was at least a sophomore in college, and honestly, I think if Margot was an actual real person, I think that she would in fact follow this artist just for her comics. I do think Shannon's style does really stand out though. It definitely has like a very distinct style, and it definitely like reminds me of like newspaper comics of like in the 90s and stuff. I feel like if I could find her artwork anywhere, it would probably be in a newspaper or either in a magazine. I like the fact that her style does like change over time, and it does look a little bit messy, but it's still like unified in a way where it does all kind of make sense. And I really do mean that in a good way. Her style is very charming, I think. It's like very cute and charming. I think she actually traditionally inks her comics and then goes back with it, doing the digital coloring and such. So I tried finding a pen that matched with her rougher lines from her comics and stuff. But yeah, I think out of like all of them, this Margot was kind of like my favorite because I feel like it really reflected her as a character. So yeah, this was a really like cool style to try out. Voidbug has a really colorful style, and when I look at her work, I immediately think about Venetian masks because her style is a very romantic style. But I was really drawn to her work because like the amount of detail that she puts into her work is just kind of amazing. Me and my friend actually found her at a con, and I bought one of her pieces, and I have yet to put it up on my wall. I just still need to find a frame for it, but like I really enjoy her work. I also like the way that she draws her monsters and stuff. They are all like really cool and unique. I could see them either like on a Midsummer Night's poster, but something that I noticed about with her artwork is that she uses a lot of colored pencil for her line work and then goes back with other colored pencils. If you actually just like look at her work, you can actually see like all the nice details. She uses a lot of pinks and purples, I think, and also like a lot of like dark blues, so it gives a very dreamy feel to her style. I did have a little bit of difficulty of figuring out how to do the shading around the eyes, but I feel like I pulled it off the best way that I could. And I'm really happy the way it turned out. I think out of all the artists in this bunch, I think SnuffyMcSnuff has like the best expressions for their style. As I was going through like some of their work, I couldn't help but admire the fact that they don't stick to just one style. They actually exchange styles throughout a good period of time. So it's nice to see like an artist like change up styles whenever they like. I also really like how soft their colors were too, and the way that they do anatomy. I also love the way they draw noses. The noses are the best. I really like the way that they drew like the little blush on some of their characters too. They have a very like angled style, and I wish I did their style justice, but I probably didn't even come close. But yeah, they're definitely a cool person to check out. I really like Oryozema's work because his work really reminds me of like old Powerpuff Girl, my life as a teenage robot sort of style, and I grew up with those two cartoons, mostly Powerpuff Girls, but like I really liked how he sort of kept up with that sort of style and then made it more retro and stuff like that. I want to say like his style also reminds me of Hanna-Barbera, but Hanna-Barbera is very different. His style is really cute and fun though. It's very like energetic and very animated. While working in his style, I kept thinking to myself like, man, this would look really cool if this was like a cartoon. And it could be a show that where there's like a monster a week. I think that could be really fun. I really liked working in his style. And also like with the colored line work really made it pop, I think. Okay, and the last one on the list, I may have gone overboard with it. Haha, it's a pun because their name is Belle by the Sea. I'm an awful dad. Anyway, I've been meaning to try this artist out for a really long time because a little while back when I was in freshman year, I also had the same feelings of like, oh, my style isn't all that great. And my friend pointed out to me their work because I was just checking it out, and they were like, hey, maybe you should try this person's work and see if you can't learn something from them. And of course, back then I was a little bit intimidated to try out their style. But hey, I did it, and I feel kind of proud about it. I really like the way that they render things, though. They have like a very cool illuminated rendering style. And it just makes like all of their characters look like I guess they all look like they are underwater, and it's all very pretty and very detailed. Trying to mimic this rendering style was definitely a challenge for me because I definitely struggle with shading and lighting. So I definitely had to try to like think about where the light source was for this style. I also want to mention that Belle is also an amazing animator, and with some of her work it looks like came from like an anime that I would probably just watch just for the art style. They also have a webcomic about pirates, and I can't remember what it's called, but I definitely will put it down below in the description. But it looks really cool. While I was like working in her style, I was using a lot of like browns and yellows. I know with her style, she uses a lot of palish colors for her characters, and I think that's really nice because it gives a very like a nice soft look compared to like some of the harsh shadows with some of her work. I also want to point out that her style is like very painterly, and I think that's why I was a little bit intimidated at first to tackle her style, because I am not a very painterly person. But I also really like how all of her characters are kind of on the short side. Like they all kind of look very short together, and they all kind of have like these cute soft round faces. Of course, like with some characters they don't have the round face. She's also like really good from breaking from serious to really comical and goofy faces too. So it was really kind of fun trying to tackle their style. If I could think of 3 things to describe her work, I would say her work is like dark chocolate on fire next to an ocean. Yep. And I think that's it for this video. If you have a favorite, please let me know down in the comments. This was really lots of fun to do. It was really kind of cool just talking about like different artists' styles and just like commenting on their work. If you guys want me to do like videos like this again, maybe I'll do an inspiration edition instead of I think these artists are neat edition. So I hope that I didn't embarrass anybody in the process, because I think I might have talked more than I needed to. But anyway, thank you so much for watching.